Doesn't this make you be concerned that if a candidate in the future, if an enemy, China, Iran, if they really wanted to flirt with, messing with our elections, in certain states for voting, because it's so close and it's coming down to one state, they can create things like this to happen to disrupt an election in America and cause a massive, chaotic situation here. How do you fight against the enemy creating this here for us?
Yeah, so this is a really important question. And you brought up this point earlier. There's all sorts of international activity in the geoengineering space. There's a lot of it. I mean, you referenced a bunch of countries, by the way, China as well. Here in the United States, in the past, and by the way, the not too distant past, during the Biden administration, there was U.S. government funding and support that propped up geoengineering. I'm speaking because as of November of 2025, but you could go back years and decades, and there has been U.S. government activity in this particular space in the past, and there have been congressional appropriations. This isn't even a secret. You can go pull language, and I put this on my website, epa.gov/geoengineering, references to, and anyone out there in the audience can go check it out, references to past government support of this activity. Going forward into the future, maybe you end up with some kind of an administration that feels like we should be playing God with the weather. Maybe they feel like in the name of combating global warming and climate change, what we should be doing is, pumping stratospheric aerosol injection to be changing the temperature. That maybe we should be putting clouds into the sky for the purpose of deflecting sun rays off so that they don't hit the earth. Trying to decide what the weather impact should be, what the temperature impact should be. And I mean, you mentioned in the context of an election, you could say it, in the context of 1,000 things, impacting the economy, way of life. And if you try to ramp it up very quickly and it hasn't been properly tested and you start studying it outdoors, I have a problem just with the outdoor experiments, let alone the actual putting it into practice. And while we can have the right policy here in the United States, this is very much an international topic because there's a whole lot of money that we see getting invested in this overseas.
Yeah, and not only that, I see the investment into overseas, but I see more the election interference, the gamification, the manipulation. There's so much you can do with this, right? If you think about the last 6 weeks, look at how many of these cloud companies have had issues. Not one. It's not just AWS. It's quite a few of them that have had these issues. I think Uber was down 2 days ago. Was it 2 days ago, Rob? I think Uber was down. I want to say Twitter was down for a few hours. And why is this happening? Is it a new way of, who was a Cloudflare? Yes, they restore services after outage. But how many of these cloud companies have had this? It's not just them. Amazon had it. Quite a few of them had it. So then it gets me to wonder and say, let me think like the enemy. If the enemy wanted to disrupt and create the next COVID, what would that look like? Would it be more an environmental thing you do? Would it be more of a cloud? You take our service out, so now we can't log in and day-to-day activity. Would it be a banking way of doing it? You have to play preventative. It's just a wiring. I lived in Iran for a long time, so you're always tempted to sit there and be concerned about what somebody can do to destroy your life. Especially a country like ours, the greatest country in the world, they're going to want to come and target a place like this. So that's why I was asking a question of the enemy using that against us. If you show the video of what's going on in Iran right now while they're messing with this is Iran. This is in a place called Abadan, if you want to press play. This is from cloud seeding. Okay, drought turns into flooding in Iran after cloud seeding efforts. Iranian authorities issued flood warnings for 6 western provinces on November 17th. Country has been suffering from severe drought for more than now 5 years. So this was their way of making up. So if you can create this type of flooding in Iran and say I'm an evil leader who hates this country, this is a great opportunity for me that I can use these types of events at unique times to disrupt an election. No?
Yeah, and cloud seeding is an actual real thing that has been around for decades.
So for a long time, they used to say it was a conspiracy theory, but it's a real thing.
It is not. It's not a conspiracy theory. Cloud seeding is real. It's been legalized in a bunch of United States and for people who are out there who aren't familiar with what cloud seeding is, the idea of just thinking that this is some crazy idea, it's a crazy topic, it couldn't possibly be real. This is actually a thing that other countries are doing, and we actually have it taking place here inside the United States. Having more of a conversation, here's one of the problems is that a lot of people who, earlier on I was talking about the people who care about these issues and the way they communicate. And my best advice is just making sure you're always communicating accurately and honestly with truth. Because if you slip up at all, it will undermine, like if 10% of your argument or 5% of your argument is not accurate, you will undermine the other 90 to 95% of your argument. Just don't do that. As far as everybody else goes, like if you think that everything that we're talking about here is just like one big conspiracy theory and nothing that we just said in the last 10 minutes is true, and you're just going to insult everybody else, that doesn't make it go away. It's going to make it worse. And I would say, like, for leaders in government, if you're in Congress and you listen to the last 10 minutes of this conversation and you're like, for whatever reason, somehow you're miraculously like hearing it for the first time, or you're actually listening for the first time, like, don't just move on with your day and then ignore this topic, because you all have constituents who care about it. And it's important to respect people who are your constituents, who have questions. And if you don't give them answers, then you're forcing them to go online, to go on social media, to try to put the pieces together themselves. You, the elected official, are in the best possible position on behalf of these constituents to find out the truth. The same thing with, like what we see Secretary Kennedy leading with the MAHA movement, the Make America Healthy Again Commission, is that there are these MAHA moms and dads, and they have questions. And instead of them being treated as outcasts and you're disrespecting these parents who want to make the right decisions and be great parents, I think it's a responsibility to follow sound science, gold standard of science, to be transparent with it, to answer these questions for the public, and have policies that meet the moment. So these are just two examples where I feel like in the past, before President Trump, for too long, you have these people who are ignored, and the people in government are like, well, there's only a few million of them. And that's not a lot, because we have this massive country of hundreds of millions of people. I sit down with President Trump and he'll talk to me about the flow of a shower, a faucet, a toilet, the flow of a gas can, the light bulb. Earlier we were talking about start-stop feature on vehicles. Each of these topics, let's say there are only a few million people who care about them. The fact is, the president respects that he has so many different Americans who care about these issues, and they might seem small. And there are a lot of people out there who care about geoengineering. And the middle finger that they've gotten from the government on their questions for years has actually made this moment worse, not better.
When we set out to create a shoe that blends comfort, function, and luxury, we had the choice to make it fast. We had the choice to make it cheap. We chose neither. Instead, we chose Tuscany, Italy. We chose true Italian craftsmanship, each pair touched by 50 skilled hands. We chose patience, spending 2 years perfecting every detail, and we chose the finest quality at every step. Introducing the Future Looks Bright collection. Not rushed, not disposable, not ordinary. Rather, intentional, luxurious, timeless. If you enjoyed this video, you want to watch more videos like this, click here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click here.